The year was 1959. 9 young hikers set out on a winter trek into the Ural Mountains. Their leader was Igor Dyatlov. Alongside him were 8 companions full of life and hope. They were experienced in the snow and the mountains. They were students strong and determined to prove themselves. The mountains they entered were feared by the native Mansi people. The locals called one slope Kolet Cycle the Mountain of the Dead. To the hikers it was simply a challenge waiting to be conquered. The group carried skis, tents, journals, and cameras. They smiled in photographs along the trail. They wrote cheerful entries in their diaries. They sang songs by the fire as they made progress. Every step seemed to bring them closer to their goal. They joked with each other and dreamed about returning as heroes. None of them knew their journey would end in tragedy. None of them knew they would become legends whispered about for decades. The last photos from their cameras showed them building a tent on a snowy slope. They pitched it in harsh winds near the top of Dead Mountain. It was their final night alive. What happened after remains one of the greatest mysteries in history. Weeks later, search teams entered the mountains. They found the hikers' torn tents standing silent in the snow. The fabric was ripped open from the inside. Inside the tent were boots, coats, food, and journals. Everything was left behind as if they fled in terror. Footprints in the snow led away from the tent. Some showed bare feet, some only socks, some light shoes. No one dressed properly for the freezing cold. The first 2 bodies were found beneath a cedar tree. Both men had no shoes, only underwear. Their hands were torn and branches above them were broken. It seemed they tried to climb the tree in desperation. Nearby 3 more bodies were discovered half buried in the snow. They had fallen while crawling back toward the tent. Their faces frozen in fear turned toward their lost camp. Months later, when the snow melted, rescuers found the final 4. They lay in a ravine covered in ice. Their injuries were horrifying. One man had a crushed skull like a car accident victim. 2 women had broken ribs and massive internal bleeding. 1 woman was missing her eyes, another her tongue. Yet their skin showed little sign of external wounds. It was as if a massive force struck them from the inside. The world demanded answers. Was it an avalanche that forced them to flee? Some experts said the slope was not steep enough. Others said the snowpack was too shallow for a slide. An avalanche could not explain the broken ribs and missing tongue. Rumors of military experiments spread quickly. The area was known for Soviet weapons tests. Could they have stumbled into a secret blast or chemical release? Witnesses in nearby villages spoke of glowing orange orbs in the sky that night. Some described fireballs drifting over the mountains. Were they rockets? Were they weapons? Or was it something stranger? The Mansi people were questioned. Some investigators wondered if locals attacked the hikers, but the Mansi denied any involvement. There was no sign of stolen food or gear. The injuries did not match a human fight. The case against the locals was abandoned. Other theories claimed spies were in the group, that 1 or more hikers worked with the KGB, that the deaths were an execution disguised as an accident, but no evidence was ever found. To support this, scientists in later decades offered new ideas. One theory was infrasound caused by the mountain wind, low-frequency vibrations that cause panic, confusion, and fear in humans. This might explain why the hikers cut open their tent and ran barefoot into the night. Another idea was a sudden snow slab avalanche, not large enough to bury the tent, but strong enough to knock them down and cause chaos. Computer simulations decades later showed such a slab was possible, but even this did not explain the missing eyes and tongue. Some believed radiation was involved. Tests on the clothing showed strange levels of contamination. The official reports never explained where it came from. Was it from military tests? or something carried on their gear from a lab. And then came the most supernatural theories, UFO sightings in the area, lights in the sky, strange marks in the snow. Could an otherworldly force have struck them? Or was it something from deep within the mountains, something unknown to science? The Soviet investigation closed quickly. The official conclusion said only this: the hikers died from a compelling natural force. No other explanation was given. Documents were classified, families silenced, the truth buried. Decades passed, but the mystery never died. Researchers returned to the mountains again. And again. Books and films turned Dyatlov Pass into legend. Tourists hiked the same slopes, leaving flowers for the 9 lost lives. Scientists kept testing theories, but no single answer fit all the evidence. Imagine the terror they faced that night. Imagine cutting open your own tent from the inside, running half naked into the freezing snow, climbing a tree with bare hands to escape something unseen, crawling through darkness with broken ribs, desperate to survive, dying alone on a silent mountain slope. The 9 hikers are remembered by name even today: Igor Dyatlov, Zina Kolmogorova, Lyudmila Dubinina, Rustem Slobodin, Yuri Doroshenko, Yuri Krivonashenko, Nikolai Thabo, Semyon Zolotaryev, Alexander Kolovatov, each name carved into stone, each life cut short by a mystery never solved. In the end, Dyatlov Pass is not just a mystery. It is a story of human courage and human fragility, a story of how nature and fear can collide with devastating force, a story that may never be fully explained. More than 60 years have passed since that night, and still the snow keeps its secrets. Still the mountain is silent, still. The world asks what really happened, and still no one can answer. Like and subscribe for more unsolved mysteries and true crime stories.